I have been waiting for this all year. It is probably the only thing from 2020 that is not going to disappoint me. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am going to be reacting right now live to the Popsugar reading challenge prompts for 2021. So I take this reading challenge every single year without fail. I started taking them accidentally in 2015 in that I took them and did not know I was reading books that fit into them. Since 2016, I've marked them a lot more regularly. So I have got my tablet right here, and this is the first time I'm actually going to read what's on the list. I have no idea what is on it. I know some of the kind of standard answers that are going to be there, and I know that there is one prompt that the Popsugar people have already given to us, so I know what I kind of have an idea of what some of them are going to be. I know exactly what one is going to be. I'm also sitting in front of my bookshelf in front of my to be read pile so that I can pick a book that I have a feeling is going to fit into this prompt. Here we go. A book that is published in 2021. I knew that this prompt would be the first one because it is always the first prompt in the page. I've got so many from my NetGalley shelf that are going to be published in 2021. There are some that I've already read, such as Before I Saw You by Emily Houghton. That is an incredible book, and I would recommend that immediately off the bat as a book that's published in 2021. I'm also going to recommend The Single Dad's Handbook by Lindsay James. That is being published in April of 2021. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston is coming out in 2021. I think Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas is 2021. I can't remember if it's late 2020 or early 2021. Editing Aoife from the future. Concrete Rose is released in January 2021, so that definitely counts as another book. An Afrofuturist book. That's a new term for me. I'm going to have to look up what Afrofuturist means. So I have no suggestions for that one, I'm afraid. A book that has a heart, a diamond, a club, or a spade on the cover. A heart, a diamond, a club, or a spade. A heart, a diamond, a club, or a spade. A heart, a diamond, a club, or a spade, please. No, those are stars. So one that I have that has a heart on the cover is About a Girl by Lindsay Kelk. This is the first in the About a Girl series, which features Tess, who kind of takes a whole new life for herself and moves to Hawaii. I think it's Hawaii that's in this book, and she kind of models herself as her boss. So this one definitely has a heart on the cover. A book by an author who shares your zodiac sign. So I have the zodiac sign Cancer. So we're looking for people late June, mid to early July. I know Lindsay James's birthday is early June and she's a Gemini, so that does not help me. I will definitely be needing a suggestion for that one. So if you know of an author, or if you are an author with a birthday in late June to mid-July. So we're thinking the 22nd of June to the 23rd of July. Get in touch, leave me a comment below. A dark academia book. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I do know that there have been lists of dark academia books floating everywhere around BookTube. So there are definitely people that you can ask. A book with a gem, a mineral, or a rock in the title. Okay, on my physical shelves there is nothing. It's likely that there might be something on my Kindle. Might even be something over there on my already read shelf. My eyesight's really bad, so I cannot see a single book. My dad got me a book for Christmas a couple of years ago by Joanne M. Harris called The Blue Salt Road. That is a definite goer here. A book where the main character works at your current or dream job. Okay, so I am trained as a journalist. That is not where I work at the moment, but it is kind of a dream job. So any book that features a journalist is in. So I am going to say the I Heart series by Lindsay Kelk. Take a drink, because it is probably the 95th time I've mentioned it here. But Angela works as a journalist. She starts her own blog. She writes kind of like a girl about town blog for some magazine in New York City. Definitely one that you can read here. A book that has won the Women's Prize for Fiction. I don't think that that necessarily has to be this year. And if that is true, I have Girl, Woman, Other. That definitely fits in here. I can read Girl, Woman, Other for this. I can also say that I have read the Testaments, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. A book with a family tree, one that I have recently just finished, is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus, and I was so glad for that family tree to be there because I had actually forgotten who half of the people in that book were related to. Every parent had the letter A as the start of their name, so I took a really long time to remember whose father is this and whose son is this and whose cousin is this, etc. That definitely really helped me out. So The Cousins by Karen M. McManus is a book that definitely has got family tree in it. A bestseller from the 1990s. Suddenly cannot remember any book that came out in the 1990s, which is fine because I also appeared in the 1990s. I was going to say something by Roald Dahl, but he died in the 1990s, so he didn't do anything. I would probably say here one of the Jacqueline Wilson books. I know that she has definitely written something that was published in the 90s. I don't remember if Tracy Beaker was published in 1992 or not, but if it was, that is definitely a bestseller, and it was definitely published in the 1990s. A book about forgetting. The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr. It is about a girl who completely cannot remember her life, and she goes on a trip to Svalbard, which is the archipelago off the coast of Norway, to try and bring back a memory that she has had from a party that she has gone to. That definitely features forgetfulness. Another one that I just finished recently, and it actually worked better for the 2020 prompt, the medical thriller, was What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty, where Alice comes to at the gym one day, which is surprising for her because she is not a gym bunny at all, and thinks that she is 25, thinks that she's 28, that she is pregnant with her first child, that she and her husband are in a happy relationship. But the reality of the situation is that she is nearly 40, she is now a mother of 3, and her husband are barely speaking. Also, definitely deals with forgetfulness. So that is 2 books there that you could fit in. A book that you have seen on someone's bookshelf, in real life, on a Zoom call, in a TV show, etc. So for this, you would definitely fit in any book that Rory Gilmore has read. Is it kind of cheating that when I was on video call with my parents back in Ireland, she went up to my mother went up to my bedroom and took like a screenshot of what the books on my shelf was, and then sent that to me, and technically I saw my own shelf on a Zoom call. Does that kind of count? I don't think that kind of counts, but it kind of counts at the same time. A locked room mystery. The only mystery that I can think that takes place all in the same place. Don't necessarily think that this is a locked room mystery, but I know that it is an entirely within the house one, is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Cardcastle by Stuart Turton. In this book, the protagonist wakes up in a different body every morning and needs to discover what happened to the titular Evelyn Hardcastle. A genre hybrid. I read quite a lot of contemporary romance fiction. I read quite a lot of contemporary YA fiction. So I think that is going to be a good way for me to branch out and read something like a fantasy sci-fi or a YA fantasy. I will figure out a book that will fit into this. This isn't going very well, this read through. A book set mostly or entirely outdoors. Lord of the Flies. Nailed it. Lord of the Flies. A book with something broken on the cover. Oh my god, there's a book right now that's in my head, and it's a broken wine glass. Cannot remember I'm like a bookseller's worst nightmare. It's blue and it's got a wine glass on the front cover. Cannot remember what it's called. But I know that there is definitely a book that I have got either as a Kindle copy or on my bookshelf, and it's got a broken wine glass on the cover. Okay, this is the closest that I can get, and it's not even really that good, but The Skull on Perfectly Preventable Death by Deirdre Sullivan is cracked. Does that count as broken? We're just going to say yes. We're going to say yes, it counts as broken. A book by a Muslim American author. Think she is Muslim. She might be Hindu. If not, I think Sandhya Menon is a Muslim author. Okay, the next prompt is a book that was published anonymously, and for this one, I definitely have a recommendation, and that is Know Your Name by Chanel Miller. I believe that it wasn't known until quite a bit down the line that the book had been published that her name was Chanel Miller and that she is the girl behind the Brock Turner rape case. Next is a book with an oxymoron in the title, and I never really know what an oxymoron is, so I cannot really recommend anything here. This is going spectacularly well. A book about do-overs or fresh starts. Again, I'm going to recommend the I Heart series by Lindsay Kelk, because Angela in these books definitely takes a do-over and starts again, where she moves from London to New York pretty much completely overnight when she finds her boyfriend cheating on her. A magical realism book. I don't read a lot of magical realism. I have very few answers for that, but I do know that the 10,000 Doors of January is magical realism. I don't remember who the author is, but I do know I have heard discussions that the 10,000 Doors of January is a magical realism book. A book set in multiple countries. That one I would suggest. Again, you have some of the books in the I Heart series where Angela starts out in New York, and for example in I Heart Paris she heads to Paris, and in I Heart London she comes back to London. I'm going to step away from that series though for a bit, and I'm going to recommend some of the Romantic Escape series. So you have the Little Patisserie in Paris, you have the Little Brooklyn Bakery, you have the little cafe, cute little cafe in Copenhagen. Any of those generally will start in the UK and then will travel further afield. One that I would absolutely definitely recommend is The Secret Little Cove in Croatia, which, as you can imagine, takes place in Croatia. It actually takes place on a yacht, and it is a wonderful book. A book set somewhere you would like to visit in 2021. So I have Ireland, top of the list, and I have quite a few books that are actually set in Ireland on my bookshelf. So we have got If Only by Melanie Murphy, Unfiltered by Sophie White, All the Bad Apples by Maura Foley Doyle. Have I got other books that are set in Ireland? I do. Forget by Ruth Gilligan. Also on my shelf by Ruth Gilligan, I have Can You See Me Now? And I have 2 Marion Keyes books on my shelf already. I think both of them are set in Ireland. I have Angels, which is the 3rd in the Walsh Sister series, and I have Sushi for Beginners. Now I have to put all these books back. Oh, I have also mentioned this one before, but Perfectly Preventable Deaths is set in Ireland. As for other countries that I would love to visit in 2021, Malta has been on the bucket list since the start of my relationship, so Malta is definitely on the cards. Croatia, as I've just mentioned, there's The Secret Cove in Croatia by Julie Kaplan. I don't know any books that are set in Malta. I actually don't think I even know any Maltese authors. But those are definitely the top 3 travel recommendations for me this year. A book by a blogger, vlogger, YouTube video creator, or other online personality. I just put it back. Again, If Only by Melanie Murphy, which is her debut fiction book, but not her original debut book. Melanie Murphy is a vlogger. She comes from Dublin. Again, I did also put this one just back, but Unfiltered by Sophie White. Also, actually, if you're going to read Unfiltered, you might as well read Filter This, which is the first book in the series. That one is kind of about Instagram and kind of expectations versus reality when you're working with Instagram, and how life doesn't really match up with what you're putting online all the time. A book whose title starts with Q, X, or Z. Oh, Queenie! I have Queenie on my Kindle. Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams definitely fits into that one. I cannot think of an X or a Z book, but Queenie definitely fits in. A book featuring 3 generations, so a grandparent, a parent, and a child. Immediately screaming out at me is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, because definitely have to get Roald Dahl in there somehow. Wing Jones by Katie Weber features 2 grandparents and then parents and a child. Have I got anything else that's definitely got a grandparent in it? Off the top of my head, I cannot think any. A book about a social justice issue. That is finally going to be the prompt that is going to get me to read On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Because I have mentioned it so many times in 2020 on my channel, and I have mentioned how many times I have got to read that damn book. And I will, I promise I will. I've lost count completely of how many prompts that there are. But next on the list is a book that's set in a restaurant. And if you can count cafes here, I don't know how good they are with rule bending, but if you can count a cafe here, then I am definitely going to recommend the book Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kazuguchi. It's quite short. I think it's only like 250 pages. It's more like 4 short stories put into one book of a cafe in Tokyo where you can travel back in time to visit your loved ones who have also visited the cafe before. Another cafe or restaurant book. Does Ratatouille have a book? A book with a black and white cover. Again, on the come up. Okay, you have got a little bit of red for Angie Thomas's name. You have The Hate You Give. That also has a black and white cover in some versions. Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman definitely has a black and white cover. And Know My Name by Chanel Miller has a black and white cover. A book by Indigenous author. I'm going to be very honest, I don't know very many Indigenous authors. So I am going to definitely look that one up. And I am going to update this list towards the middle of the year and again towards the end. So we will figure out what I've read there. Book that has the same title as a song. I really like music, so I should know this. I feel like I should know a book that has the same title about a song. I do. What I like about... Is it What I Like About You or What I Like About Me? I think it's What I Like About Me by Jenna Guillaume, who is an Australian author. It's a kind of a YA book. It was her debut YA book. Got it. Oh, you can't even see it. Angels by Marion Keyes has the same title as the song by Robbie Williams, which was a cover. I can't remember who did the first one. It wasn't Tony Christie. Why is that in my head? A book about a subject you are passionate about. Okay, I have no idea. This is like when you go into college, they're like, what do you like? And it's just like, books. I just like books. I just like to cook. I like cats. I like to travel. I really like TV game show quizzes. And I know that that makes me sound like I'm 75. But does that mean I could also read like the Pointless TV quiz book or the Chase TV quiz book or I hate Tipping Point. I'm not going to read that book. I could say I'm passionate about murder and read a thriller, but that's a really, really bad take. Don't say that. A book that discusses body positivity is probably What I Like About Me by Jenna Guillaume. I know that Dumpling by Julie Murphy is about a girl who enters a beauty pageant, but she is plus size and she very much loves who she is, and her mother does not share the same beliefs. No Big Deal by Bethany Rudder is all about body positivity. A book found on a Black Lives Matter reading list. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. It's one that I read this year, but I would absolutely definitely recommend it. That is a fantastic book. Noughts and Crosses is another one that I would definitely recommend by Mallory Blackman. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Lodge. On the Come Up, again by Angie Thomas. There are a couple of books that you can fit in here for sure. A book in a different format than what you normally read. Audiobooks, ebooks, or graphic novels. That one I'm going to read a graphic novel. I never, ever, ever read graphic novels, and I think that would be the first one I've ever read. And for that one, I am going to read Heartstopper by Alice Osman. I've got a copy of it on my Kindle, and I don't honestly know if that's the best way to read it. I feel like if I'm reading a graphic novel, I should probably have a physical copy of it in my hand, but that is the best that we can do in short notice. Book that has fewer than 1,000 reviews on Amazon or Goodreads. That is definitely one that I'm going to have to look into, but I have got a feeling... Where did I put it back? I have got a feeling that Forget by Ruth Gilligan has fewer than 1,000 reviews on Goodreads. I know that it is a book that not a lot of people have heard about. Definitely one that I'm going to fit in there. I mean, I could have fit it into 3 prompts by now, but I think it's going to fit into that one perfectly. A book you think your best friend would like. I've actually already messaged her because this is the prompt that they gave out to us a couple of days ago. So I have already messaged my best friend and told her about 5 or 6 books that I think she would really enjoy. Included on that list was Noughts and Crosses, was The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, was After the Silence by Louise O'Neill, was Beatrice by Emily Henry, was... there was a couple of other books. This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. There were a couple of like totally different books that I had recommended her that I thought I really enjoyed this, and I know this is your reading taste or you're looking to branch out a bit further. A book about art or an artist. So I think that's probably going to have to be a memoir or you could kind of dodge the lines a little bit there and do music as an art form and read 1,000 Perfect Notes by C.G. Drews, which is about Beck, who is a piano prodigy and is very much suffering under the wrath of his mother. Second last of the basic prompts, a book everyone seems to have read but you. God, thousands, fucking thousands of them. Like half the books that are on this list, fucking thousands. For that, I'm probably going to go with The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, or One of Us Is Next, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Milkman, Hamnet. God, everybody and their mother has read Hamnet. Definitely going to have that one in there. And lastly, your favourite prompt from a past Popsugar reading challenge. The last basic prompt is always that, and for that I always go with a book that has a cat on the cover, because I am a cat mother, I am a cat lady, and I have cats at my parents' house. So if I can find a book that has a cat on the cover that I haven't already read, there we are. The one that I read for it this year was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. That one has a tiny cat on the corner of the cover. Now we go to the advanced prompts. And they had a theme last year. And by the looks of things, it has a theme again this year of your TBR, which is convenient because that is where all of these books are going to come from. Here we go. The longest book by pages on your TBR. Jesus. All right, give me an hour. I mean, this one looks pretty chunky. We're going to go that The Gift of Friends by Emma Hannigan is probably the longest one there. 447 with the acknowledgements and the dedication included. Without 442. I don't think I'm going to be able to top that immediately. So we're going to say that for that one, The Gift of Friends by Emma Hannigan is my go. And then conversely, you have the shortest book by pages on your TBR. And I probably have this one here. I have Aoife Ryan from Aoife Weefa to thank for this. She gave me this one for my birthday. Stop Looking at Your Phone. Do not have the name of the author. Is kind of like a comic book of sorts, like a graphic book. Just giving you ideas as to how to put your phone away, which is definitely something that I need to do. And this seems like it's only about 50 pages at maximum. I mean, that's one that I can take off midnight New Year's Day already. The book on your TBR with the prettiest cover. That's going to take a while to decide. I mean, I don't really like prompts like that because then you also have the book that has the ugliest cover on your TBR is the next prompt. And I don't really like that because I know how much work goes into a book and I know how much work goes into deciding what the cover of the book is going to be. I think again though, Hamnet has got a really pretty cover. I've got a Kindle copy of that, not a physical one. When it comes to the uglier side, I think books that have just the text on it are kind of up there. So I'm going to recommend here Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Not because it's an ugly cover. I don't actually subjectively think that it's awful. It's just that it's not my taste in cover. And that prompt is going to be very, very much a subjective one. So if that is a book that the cover you love, please don't take any offense to that. It's just my opinion on it. The books that has been on your TBR list for the longest amount of time. Again, half the books that are on this list. I'm pretty sure that there are books here that I have actually brought with me when I moved to Germany 3 years ago. I am nearly certain that I actually got a present of this maybe 2 or 3 months before I moved over. Let's check the publication date to see does that add up. Published in 2017. I came here in 2017. That is very likely the book that's been on my TBR the longest. So it's going to go off this year. A book from your TBR list you meant to read last year but didn't. How many of these am I going to answer with just all of them? I mean, you can't really do that for all of them, Aoife. That's cheating. As of now, quite a few of these books are planned for December, so I can't put them in here yet. Where is it? I've meant to read this for the entirety of 2020. So absolutely on the come up fits in here. I'm going to have to write these down or I'm going to forget. A book from your TBR list you associate with a favourite place, person or thing. My dad. This, The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, was given to me by my dad a week ago. Maybe even 2 weeks ago. It was very, very recently. This I will associate with my dad, who is one of my favourite people in the world, because he gave it to me. So that box ticked. Oh, and also Lucy Foley, I think, is an Irish author. A book from your TBR list chosen at random. I have got a TBR game planned for at least the first half of 2020. So any books that I fit from that's going to fit in here. A DNF book from your TBR list. I have recently DNF'd a couple of books. So I have got one in my mind that I was thinking to give a second chance to, and that's Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I was thinking of giving it a second chance before I completely get it out of my house. And finally, last prompt, a free book from your TBR list, either gifted, borrowed, or from the library. So I got a couple of books for my birthday last year that are actually still on this list, because of course they are. I get a couple of books from NetGalley every month, so one of them could fit in here. I am a member of my local library back in Ireland and here, so definitely a book that I get from the library would fit in here. A book that I got as a present, for example, is There's Something About Sweetie by Sandy and Menon. That is definitely something that I can fit in here. Again, that prompt is going to be very subjective to how your reading tastes go. So there you have it. Those are all of the prompts on the Popsugar Reading Challenge for 2021. Have you got any books that you think I can fit in where I have struggled a little bit? Or let me know what you're planning to read for any of the prompts that I did fit in. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.